All right. Good evening, everyone. We want to welcome you tonight to our program overview, our program information session for our online Masters in Business Analytics program. We're very happy you could join us here tonight. Just a quick agenda, what we're going to be going over this evening. Do some brief introductions, introduce your speakers tonight. We're going to go over some of our program format, so what the format of this online program is. Our faculty here, Andrew, he's going to be discussing our curriculum highlights. And we're also going to share what it's like to be an online student here at Brown University. And lastly, we're going to finish up with our application checklist. And then we will be doing a live Q&A at the end of our presentation where you're going to have an opportunity to ask us any questions you have. So please use that Q&A feature that we have, or you can put them in the chat as well. We'll answer them at the end of our webinar this evening. So my name is Michael McGurl. I'm your host for the evening. I'm an admissions coordinator for our online program, so I work with our business programs here in the School of Professional Studies. And then, Devin, do you want to introduce yourself?
Sure. My name is Devin Costa. I am the program specialist for online graduate programs here at the School of Professional Studies. And in this role, I provide administrative and operational support to make sure our programs run smoothly. And I'm also a resource for you as well.
Well,
Great, thank you, Devin. And Andrew, you want to introduce yourself?
certainly. Hi, everyone. My name is Andrew Banashevich. I'm the professor of practice of business analytics here at the School of Professional Studies. I'm also the academic director for the program that we're here to share with you tonight. And well, as my intro slide is here, so I might as well just tell you a bit more about myself. So my background is that of sort of a mixed journey, if you will. I spent more than first half of my professional journey working as a practitioner, and I spent the second half, which is right now, a little less than half as an academician. So I have been in senior roles in business analytics and data science in various business organizations for nearly 20 years, and I have been in the academic realm for a bit more than 10 years. And so my education, I have a PhD in quantitative business analysis and MBA. And so my education is entirely in the area of working with data and essentially using data to drive business decisions. And I spent the entirety of my career either practicing it or writing about it, doing research in that area. And so I'm very passionate about this domain. And so we'll have a couple more slides here that are in which I'm going to share with you how my background sort of translates into the character of our program here. But I'm glad you guys were able to join us, and I look forward to sharing a bit more about our offerings in a minute.
Great. Thank you so much, Andrew. So next, we're going to go and talk a little bit about our program format. So this program, again, is an online program. We are 100% online. In this class, this degree is completed completely asynchronously. One of the great things, though, about this program is that we also offer weekly optional synchronous sessions. So these are going to be opportunities for you to meet with your faculty members, to meet with the other students in your cohort, kind of bounce ideas off each other, talk about what you've been working on and learning that week. So while the program does allow you to work at your own pace, you also have opportunities to interact with your cohort as well, which really gives it a feeling of being able to not just have to look at your screen throughout the week. You have an opportunity to really chat and bounce ideas off of some of your peers. We also are going to be offering an optional 2.5-day in-person session throughout the semester. The program is 4 consecutive semesters, so that's 16 total months. So 2 courses per semester for a total of 8 courses if you're doing the math at home. Tuition for this program is $8,375 per course. So again, that's 2 courses per semester. And then we do offer up to 50% merit-based scholarships as well. So there are opportunities to really help kind of, cutting costs is something we're all trying to look to do these days. And these scholarships are a great way to do that. And again, they are merit-based. They're not need-based. So these are based on the merit of your application as you go through the application process. Now, Andrew, if you want to talk a little about some of our curriculum highlights, maybe we talk first about the sequence of the courses that we're offering in this program.
Definitely happy to do that. Just one quick follow-up on the synchronous sessions that Michael just mentioned. I want you guys to be clear that the synchronous sessions are not just an opportunity for you to connect with your peers, which of course that is part of the goal, but also an opportunity for you to interact with the faculty member who is the instructor for the course. So you have an opportunity to ask questions, seek clarification, discuss issues, whatever, and frankly get to know your faculty too a bit more. So and so each weekly session is hosted and obviously attended by the faculty member who is the instructor for the course, and then whoever chooses to join then participates in the session as well. So just a quick point. So with that being said, these are the 4 semesters. Sort of this is kind of like, if you were to come in as a full-time student and taking 2 courses a semester would qualify you as a full-time student because each of those courses is 4 credit hours. So the way it works out in graduate schools that would make you eligible for to be considered a full-time student. So then you would be able to complete the program in this 16 consecutive months. Of course, at the same time, you may also opt to take 1 class a semester and go through the program as a part-time student. So this is not set in stone. We're just presenting it this way just so that it's easier for you to see. So generally speaking, your first semester, you would take the 2 courses that you see here, which are sort of like, intro into the realm of business analytics. So business analytics and decision making and statistical methods for business analytics. And then the second course will sort of take a first deeper dive into getting data ready for analysis. So data curation, exploration, and visualization. The first part, curation, which essentially is focused on taking data that are messy and generally speaking not ready to be worked with in terms of analysis, and restructuring, reorganizing, cleansing, and otherwise getting those ready for analysis, a very sort of key important part, and then exploring data, looking for initial trends and associations, and then putting it in easy to see visual formats, so graphing, charting. That's a very elementary, very foundational data analytics skill set. And then from there, you would jump into predictive analytics and forecasting, which is sort of a natural extension. So typically, you would sort of begin by exploring data, and then usually in business, at least, what we want to do is we want to look to the future and support future-looking decisions. And so predictive analytics and forecasting are data analytical tools in a very broad sense that are usually used to support those endeavors. In your third semester, switch gears a bit. And so as you noted, in the first 2 semesters, or 4 if you were to do it part-time, you would be primarily focusing on sort of what I would describe as traditional means of analyzing data, which essentially means using classical statistical methods. In the third semester, we're going to introduce you to key aspects of machine learning. So first, machine learning, which focuses on working with structured numeric data, and then text analytics, which focuses on working with unstructured textual data, as you can imagine. So you get some fundamental introduction into supervised, unsupervised machine learning, into using different machine learning algorithms, how they function, the difference between optimization-based tools, which is machine learning, and statistical distribution-based analysis, and then text analytics, which is sort of its own hugely important domain, given that by some estimates, 80 to 90% of data out there is in the text format. So, and then in the final semester, multimodal analytics introduces you to, how can I best describe it? It essentially is sort of looking at business analytics from a broader perspective and saying, if I'm trying to solve a particular business problem in front of me using available and applicable data, I generally would have different ways of going about it. So I can do statistical analysis. I can use machine learning within realm of statistical analysis. I can use what's known as the frequentist approaches versus Bayesian approaches. Multimodal analytics will give you basic fluency, basic understanding of how you can use these otherwise, what could be seen as competing means of solving the same problem in a way that you can sort of triangulate at what might be ultimately the best solution that cuts across those different avenues. And then the last course would be Business Analytics Capstone, very hands-on, experiential learning, real-life project, real-life data. Go to it basically with very explicit step-by-step guidance, of course, but using, again, as I said, real-life data to solve the kinds of problems that we typically tackle in the business world. So that, in a nutshell, is the essence of our curriculum. So Mike, if you can jump to the next slide, please. Well, why business analytics? It would be, should I speak to that, or would you like to talk to it, Mike?
Sure, yeah, I can talk about a
Well,
little bit
because,
about this.
for me, I spent so many years doing that. It's like, it just seems almost undignified to ask that as a question. Why business analytics? And of course, business analytics. Well,
Sure.
here's the idea. So when you think about it, I mean, you probably all have heard the description that we live in information age, the age of data, information technology. It all essentially boils down to using data that are ubiquitous. And just, every day new sources, new types of data are being added as we have all manner of electronic transaction processing communication systems, all of which at the core of their operation capture and store data. And so then those data can be used to support all manner of decisions and choices that otherwise we would struggle with. And business analytics is essentially teaching you, giving you basic literacy in the context of how you can use tools and data in the context of business to support business decision making. So you see some of the bullet points here, but the important part is that what it equips you with are the kinds of skill, the kind of knowledge, and the kind of competencies that are very much sought after in the business world, because I can tell you that from experience, and I'm sure you can easily imagine it. There simply is no company under the sun. I mean, unless it's somebody selling, lemonade on the side of the road, that doesn't have data. And then so instinctively, all companies, we all collect data because sort of like intuitively, it seems like it's the kind of a thing we should hold on to. But for the longest time, the companies have vastly underutilized data as a resource. And unlike wine, data doesn't get better with age, right? So unless you use it and use it quickly to support, to derive, to get some insights out of it that will make the next set of decisions more effective and more on point, well, then you're kind of missing the point. So the idea is that anyone who has robust competencies in that area is never going to be out of work. So that is really why business analytics. If you want a career, and if you want a career that is going to open a lot of opportunities to advance virtually in all industries, no matter where you are, this is one of the degrees to get, one of the few that will promise you that. And so what you can do with this degree, well, you can build a very successful career, and I speak from experience, very satisfying career. I shouldn't say from experience successful. I don't call my career successful. I can call it very satisfying. I enjoyed what I did. I always did. I don't remember dreading when Monday came and I had to go back to work. And that matters a lot, guys. At least it mattered to me, because we spend so much time, so much of our life being at work and enjoying what one does. I mean, that just has such huge value that someone, my age, looking back, I can I can truly appreciate. And so that's really that's the best that I can tell you. And you can see some of the details in here. We have, we threw out some of the, commonly seen titles and position types, but there's no, it's not an accident that virtually most, early career positions are characterized as some type of an analyst, because the expectation is that you have the knowledge, you have the know-how to help your employer make better use, monetize their data resources, either to support the decision making or to help someone else in the process of doing that. I'm going to stop talking right now because this is way too exciting, and I could keep keep going on, but that probably wouldn't be good for any of us. So anyway, back to you, Mike.
Yes, absolutely, Andrew. And thank you. I mean, I think that your passion speaks through to these students who are listening tonight. So those who are listening, this is just a taste of the excitement and passion you're going to get from our faculty here and our program. So Andrew, I know you wanted to speak a little bit about just some of what the focus of the MBAN program is and some data analytics literacy.
Okay, absolutely. So just as I said, I was done talking. There I am again, right? Anyway, so at the core of our program is the idea of data analytic literacy. To be literate, in a very direct sense, literacy means the ability to read and write, right? Just that nowadays we use the term in reference to things that have little to do with reading and writing, because for whatever reason, the notion of numeracy, which was the analog to literacy, just kind of got lost in the shuffle. And so this is the essence of our program from a standpoint of what you will walk away with. So what does it mean to be data analytically literate? So it starts with these two dimensions that we're showing here at the top: conceptual knowledge and applied skills. If I can put it in a very everyday terms, conceptual knowledge is simply ability to know what you are doing. So what path you're choosing, and the ability to understand why that particular path makes better sense than some of the other paths that you could have been choosing. So that's conceptual knowledge. So when it comes to working with data, it's important because sometimes there are multiple ways of approaching the same data analytical problem, but some of them are more efficient, more effective, and ultimately going to produce better outcomes. So that's the conceptual knowledge part. And the applied skills is the ability to do things. So, you can be very knowledgeable, but if you don't know how to do things, whatever those things are, we'll mention in a minute, then your value in an organization is going to diminish quickly because, in the end, it's about doing. And so the conceptual knowledge here has, two different dimensions. First is understanding data. So what I mean by that? Well, data are, basically encoded signals. So you have different types of content that's captured using different ways of encoding. Numeric and new numbers can be continuous, categorical. You have and then you have non-numeric, which could be alphanumeric or pure text. And so understanding those different data structures in terms of types and in terms of content. What is the informational content of a continuous versus categorical variable? That's hugely important because that you have to understand that in order to be able to know how to analyze it. What kind of analytical approaches are allowed is a function of what type, what is the data type that you're looking at. And so that's the first part, understanding data in terms of, what you have, how it's structured, and that's how it can be analyzed. And then understanding different methods. First, for processing, meaning you have to be able to manipulate data. You have to be able to restructure, impute missing values, combine standalone files and so on and so forth. So that's the processing part, and then understanding data analytic methods. So the conceptual knowledge here, you have sort of that I hate to use the term theoretical because that's not really theoretical, because it's all very real. It's just understanding the abstract ideas behind all those different ways and tools and structures. And then applied skills essentially boils down to, well, when I need to manipulate data, do I know how to do it? Do I have the ability to use some type of a programming language, some type of a data analytical data management application to execute the steps that I need to execute? And so computing, it's basically that. Structural means being able to manipulate data to create data set that are analysis ready. And informational means that you are then able to subject that previously cleansed and restructured and made ready for analysis data set for some analysis that are geared at extracting meaning out of those data. And then sense making gets oftentimes overlooked, but that essentially boils down to how do you interpret the results? It's one thing to build a regression model of some kind. It's something else to be able to interpret the contents, the results of that meaning. What do these coefficients really mean? If I were to interpret those individual values, how would I interpret them in a way that doesn't sort of outstretch the statistical and other limits of the underlying information? And so that's all at the core of your ability to productively and creatively use available data resources. So essentially, at the end of our program, you will be really, really good at doing all of that. That's really it in a nutshell. So Mike, if you can jump to the next slide. And you will, and part of the reason you will be good at doing all of that is because the context in which we will teach you how to do it all always is at the intersection of those two key elements that you see here in brown and in red: applied skills and conceptual knowledge. It's like yin and yang. One doesn't exist without the other. You have to understand what you're doing. You have to understand why you are doing. But just as important is you have to know how to do things. And so teaching the two in conjunction, always together, really drives the idea of data analytic literacy. That's how you become functionally literate, how you become able to do things in a way that not are just able to execute someone else's order, but you can be a critical thinker in a way of looking at it and saying, I don't think this is the best way of doing that, and here's why I don't think so. And I think that would be a better approach to using data that has these particular characteristics to produce the kinds of insights that we're after. Next slide, please, Mike. And so what this gets me to is the process that we're going to teach you, because it has been my experience over many years of doing this kind of work in the industry that business analytics is ultimately a process, and it's a process of answering business questions with data. So generally speaking, we engage in doing analysis of data in business because there is some degree of ambiguity, uncertainty, ambivalence when it comes to what is the most appropriate course of action that we should engage in. And so typically what that means is that our analysis need to be structured in the context which is outlined here on this slide in those 5 steps. So first, you have to understand what exactly is the business question that you're trying to answer with your data. So that's really important, right? You can't find that which you don't have a very clear image of. The second step is you have to really get a good understanding of what data are available and applicable. So you have to sort of assess what do you have to work with. That's step number 2. Then step number 3 is you have to look at what might be the appropriate methods. Of course, the appropriate methods are a function of what data you have to work with, number 2, and what is the goal that you're after? What is the question you're trying to answer, number 1, right? And so then At number 4, well, as I mentioned so many times before, you have to be able to do the work. So, all of the great planning and figuring things out is wonderful, it's essential, it's hugely important, but it doesn't amount to much of anything if you don't know how to execute. And so that's number 4. And just as important is be able to tell a story that is both compelling, that truly answers the question, that conveys the kind of information that either you or someone else is after, and does it in a way that is really meaningful and easy to understand. And that is not always as easy as it sounds, because in using statistical analysis or machine learning, the outcome of the analysis oftentimes very esoteric. So taking those esoteric, nuanced, somewhat contextualized technical outcomes and translating into clear answers to specific business questions in a way that's valid and reliable, that's an important skill, but it is a skill nonetheless, and you will learn it in our program as well. And so for the second time, I promise, I'm done talking, guys. Thank you for listening. But if you have any questions, I'll be more than happy to answer those. So back to you, Mike.
Great. Thank you so much, Andrew. Really appreciate that deep dive and what this program is going to be covering. All right. And then we're going to toss it over to Devin, who's going to speak a little bit about the online student overview here at Brown University.
Great. Thank you, Mike. All right. So here are a couple of things to keep in mind as you're considering this program. In terms of class logistics, all of our courses can be accessed anywhere using the Canvas learning platform. I've used it myself as a student. It's very user-friendly. Upon graduation, the degree awarded will be a Master of Science in Business Analytics. So to be clear, your diploma will not include the word online, nor will your transcript. For graduation, all online graduates are invited to Brown's in-person commencement ceremony in May, but we will also host a virtual ceremony for those who can't travel to Providence. You can attend both if you would like to, but there are each available to you. One thing we really want to make clear is that regardless of where you are, if you're near Providence, if you're outside of the US, our students are full members of the Brown community, and this gives you access to a number of things. My personal favorite is Brown's library. I've already spent several weekends in the physical one, but you will have access to Brown's online library. You also have access to our career services, which I will dive into a little bit more deeply in a few moments. And you also have access to Brown's Virtual Foundations and Resource Center, which essentially offers a number of kind of brush up courses, say in math or writing. If you haven't had these courses in a while, these can help you brush up on those skills. And then you will also have a dedicated support team to guide you through application all the way to graduation. And then you'll also have us when you're an alum. Great. So career and support services. So one of the great benefits of Brown is taking advantage of our community and have all the resources that we have. And one of our most robust resources is our career services and professional development team. Here are a couple of things that you can utilize while you're in this program. As a general hub, you can use our virtual career center where you can explore career paths, check latest industry news, seek career advice, and keep up with market insights. You're also welcome to schedule one-on-one appointments with our career advisors via Handshake, which is our recruiting platform for students. And within Handshake, you can also meet with a wide variety of experts in a variety of different fields and network with them through that portal. Career Services also has their readiness program, and this is where they host a wide variety of both in-person and virtual events, connecting students with, again, all kinds of experts, their networking opportunities, as well as skill training opportunities. And I think a few weeks ago, they brought someone in from Goldman Sachs, and they had a wonderful conversation with our students. So there's a variety of ways in which you connect, not just with our immediate community, but with our external community as well. Next slide. And then another great way to get involved with Brown is through our overall community. So there is Brown Connect, which functions as a networking and career platform. And this is where students can connect with peers, alums, as well as professionals across industries. Students also have access to the Brown Daily Herald, which is the students' newspaper. as well as Today at Brown and Events at Brown, which are daily emails digests that highlight university news and upcoming events. These events are hosted virtually and open to all students and staff, so you will also be able to attend regardless of where you are. Graduate students also can subscribe to a whole variety of listservs and connect that way through academic resources, community updates, as well as more networking. There's a lot of networking. We also have a lot of centers and student groups. Here's just a couple of them. We have the Graduate Council, which is the governance body, and we do recommend that our online students do join. They do have online representation within the governance body. There are also a lot of cultural and identity-based centers and groups, and this is just a couple of them. We have the Brown Center for Students of Color, Global Brown Center for International Students, the Sarah Doyle Center for Women and Gender, the LGBTQ Center, and the Military Affiliated Students Group. Each of these groups have their own events, have their own community building, and once you connect with them, you can take part in all their virtual events.
Great. Thank you so much, Devin. All right, everybody. We're going to head into our application checklist here. One of the last things we'll be discussing tonight before our live Q&A. So again, if you did have questions about anything we've talked about so far, please feel free to put them in that Q&A function. Okay, so in order to apply for this program, the first thing we're going to need is a bachelor's degree from an accredited institution. We're also going to need a resume or CV detailing at least 2 years of work experience that you have. We're also asking for at least 3 letters of recommendation, with one of those letters provided coming from a professional supervisor or manager. We're also going to need official transcripts once your application should be accepted, if you are accepted into the program. For students who are enrolling in their first semester, we do need the official transcripts, but please keep in mind that unofficial transcripts will work to submit your application. And then we're looking for a personal statement, about 1,500 words or less, just looking to understand why you're looking to pursue this online master's in business analytics. Talk a little bit about your short-term and long-term goals, how this program can help you achieve them, your background and why you're choosing this specific degree, and why Brown, why now, why is this going to be the program for you? And then a prerequisite for our program, we are asking that any of our applicants have at least one semester of college level math or statistics with a grade of B or better completed within the last 5 years. For our students who might be applying from international locations, you will need a full international transcript evaluation by either WES, ECE, or SpanTran, and this is required for degrees from non-US institutions. Excuse me. The international transcript evaluation is required in order to submit your application. And then for students whose native language is not English, we do ask that you submit your TOEFL or IELTS score as well. You can see the results that we need for that. And students from mainland China may submit the TOEFL ITP plus exam as well. And then the best news of the night, if anything we talked about here this evening piqued your interest and you're like, I want to apply tonight, great news, you can. The application is currently open. And our early action deadline is not until March 15th. So by attending this event tonight and applying before March 15th, we will waive that $100 application fee. And again, you can start your application today on the link provided. We'll also be sending this specific recording out tomorrow as well. So if you wanted to look back at anything or get any specific links, please feel free to rewatch this tomorrow as well. And just some other deadlines, please note the priority deadline is May 15th, with the final application deadline being June 15th, and the fall 26 semester, our inaugural cohort for this program, will begin on September 3rd. All right, everyone. So that kind of wraps up our speaking portion of the evening tonight. We are asking if you have any questions in that Q&A, please feel free to put them in. We're always happy to answer any questions that you might have. And it looks like I see a question that's come in here. Andrew, maybe you could talk a little about this. Could you share kind of what software or tools or programming languages might be used in this course, for example, Python, and what level of prior experience is expected for participants?
Yes, I'll be happy to speak to it. So in principle, we are tool agnostic, and so I'll explain it more. The reason for that is that there are just multiple tools. I mean, there are numerous tools that can be used for manipulating data and analysis of data, and now those tools generally fall in a couple of categories. You mentioned Python, one of the more popular open source languages. R is another one, but then there are, long-standing applications such as MATLAB and SAS and SPSS, and of course there's SQL and NoSQL for data manipulation, and then we have some data visualization tools as well. So it's a very rich universe that there are multiple tools that essentially compete with one another in the sense that they, each can be used to do the same kind of work. And so what we're going to be doing in this program is essentially providing guidance and support, and providing you with support in sense of developing skills and competencies in tools of your choice. So if you're interested in open source coding languages like Python, then you would be able to use Python in your coursework and on your assignments. And then in addition to it, would also provide support in terms of coding labs. So it would be a non-credit, no extra cost support where you would be able to connect with a highly skilled programmer with skills in the language of choice to you, who would provide you with whatever help you might need as you're developing skills in that area. So another reason why we are tool agnostic is because there just is no one size fits all best tool set that would make you the best candidate for a particular job. Different companies, different industries, just by virtue of prior choices and other considerations, will have gravitated toward different tools. And so if we lack someone in tool set one, well, that may or may not align with a particular job opportunity that you might be interested in. And so rather than doing that, would rather give you freedom to explore perhaps a wider universe of tool to make yourself kind of more universally desirable applicant. So that's the key. But again, as I said, the important part of that provision is that of providing you with that additional behind the scenes support, which is strictly elective. There is no additional cost associated with it, and it's not something that would be graded, just providing you help in learning whatever tool sets you are most interested in. And of course, with myself and other instructors will be more than happy to have a conversation and sort of help you zero in on what tool set might make the best sense for you given your particular interests or goals or aspirations. So hopefully this answer makes sense to you.
Great. Thank you so much, Andrew. Appreciate that. Folks, just want to offer one last opportunity. If you do have any other questions, please feel free to put them in either the chat or the Q&A function. We have a student who put a question in here. English is not my first language, but I do have a bachelor's degree as well as a master's degree from a US-based university. Do I still need the TOEFL? We would need the TOEFL exam again if English is not your native language. You wouldn't need an international transcript evaluation in those cases because those are from US-based institutions. Devin, we had a pre-submitted question come in. A student had asked if they are able to attend this program part-time.
Yes. The program is not, so, the characterization of the program in terms of the length to complete of 16 months is based on the assumption of full time, because then we would know how long it's going to take someone for sure to finish it. Anyone you can, in fact, what you can do is, you can start part-time, change to full-time, or alternate full and part-time. So there are, no specific There are no specific requirements in regard to that. There is a time limit within which you have to complete the degree, but I believe it's something like 5 years. Please correct me if I'm, yeah. So it's about, so long as you complete a degree within 5 years, you can, you can stretch out those 8 courses however it's best, however it makes best sense for you.
Great. Thank you so much. All right, folks, I don't see any more questions that have come in, so I really want to thank you all for coming out this evening, spending your time with us and learning more about our online Masters in Business Analytics program. Please note, if you did have any additional questions, please email us at onlinemasters_admissions@brown.edu, and you can also make an appointment with your graduate recruitment coordinator. We're always happy to chat more and share any information you might have about our program. And one last reminder, our application is currently open, so feel free to get in there and start submitting your application. We really hope to see that application come through on the other side. So I want to thank everyone again tonight. Devin, Andrew, thank you both so much for attending and sharing our information with our students.
It was a pleasure, and if any of you would have happens to have any follow-up questions, just feel free to also reach out to me on LinkedIn, connect with me. I'll be more than happy to provide any additional information you guys might need. But thank you for attending once again, and as Michael said, we hope to see your application.
Good night, everyone.
Good night.